right, let's go for the next session. Skills for happy living, or happy skills for living. And when I was teaching in Taiwan, they love terms like happy or blessed, you know, and they name their kids that. And so they want to call it happy skills. So we call it happy skills. Interestingly enough, I was down there teaching, and I asked the people to remember, have one memory from their childhood that was positive, what they thought they felt good about, something happened. Or 100 people there, and there were only one person could come up with something positive from their childhood. They were all people who had to leave China, you know, and go to Taiwan. You've got a lot of hard memories in some people's lives. And one of the blessings, of course, is what the church does is we, forgetting that which lies behind, we move on forward, help people move on to a happy life. And I have a little phrase I like to use: it's never too late to have a happy childhood. That put within God's plans. Never too late to have a happy childhood. So that's what the church is all about, giving people happy childhoods, because God works with the past, present, and future. And for him, it's all the same. Well, how do we do that? What are the skills? Well, how do you learn to do the 5-to-1 dance for life instead of the dance for death? Now, many years ago, I talked to a guy, a friend of mine, and I said, just let this thing happen naturally. It was Bob LaRoe, Howard. And he said, nothing happens naturally except sin. Everything else you got to work at. And that's right. So what we try to do is teach people how to have the happy skills, how to have the positive skills. And the Humpty Dumpty book is organized around that. I came up with an acrostic to kind of guide my thinking through the whole book. It's called AS, A-S-I-G-R-E-W, grew. And in the whole book, that's just the front part, the first part. And the next part is calm, C-A-L-M, and so smart. It's AS stands for always spiritual, I is invitational, G, genuine, R, respectful, E, empathic, W is warm. And then the calm is getting concrete and specific if you're going to be a lay helper. This book, Humpty Dumpty, is written for lay helpers. The Listening for Heaven's Sake and the Rational Christian Thinking was written for the congregational level. But the Humpty Dumpty is written to help people who are involved in ministry, involved in some kind of work. It could be professional counselors or lay counselors, but who are in an influential position as a Sunday school teacher, a paraprofessional, or whatever. AS, right? Always spiritual. Now, this is one of the things I want to remind people of, that we're spiritual. If you have God is with us at all times. You don't have to be in a building like this. You don't have to be preaching. You don't have to be reading Scripture. If you have God, God has you wherever you go. And that's one of the things about, quote, ministry that we need to remember. Wherever you are, you have the glow of the Spirit. You have the glow and the love that you can show other people. The inviting attitude is a way that you are ready to invite people for a relationship. Now, you may not like the way they look, what they're doing. You may not like how they're coming across, the lifestyle. But if you don't show an inviting attitude toward them, they will be put off. And those are exactly the kind of people a lot of times that really need us. I told you earlier today about being nominated or elected as a Teacher of the Year one year for the Muslims in Singapore. I went to a conference, and I always ask, well, Lord, show me, is there somebody you want me to meet with? And I saw a woman there, a Muslim lady, and she was dressed with all of the robes and everything on. And I didn't know any Muslim people. Never met any to talk with, really. And so I went over and sat down by her. And I said, would you help me? We're going to have a dinner pretty soon, and I don't know what to eat. I'm from America, obviously, and I need help because we're going to eat Malay Muslim food. And she, well, sure, I'd love to. A lot of times people are very happy to help you if you ask them to do you a favor. So instead of me saying, I can help you, which would be very, very presumptuous, saying I could help her. Would you help me? And then I asked her a whole lot of questions about why she was there and what she was doing and so forth. And she was very, very happy because I was invitational. I invited her into my life to talk and tell me what her life was all about. Well, I ended up finding out that she was the head of the lay counselor training program in Singapore for the Muslims, the Association of Muslim Professionals, and I ended up training all of those people and working with them for 3 years. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience, and got terrific feedback even from their imams, their teachers, which was really quite a hurdle. I was pretty anxious about it, obviously, when I went into this. I'll have to tell you more about it. But when you're a caring host or a caring hostess, then you invite people in. Even Walmart's decided that. You know, they have somebody greeting you. If Walmart has decided that's a good idea, maybe it's a good idea for us. Next, genuineness. Now, one of the things that I found is really important is that it's hard for people to know themselves, be genuine. Genuineness means you're not a fake. You're not wearing a mask. You're open to yourself and to other people. And it's inside and outside harmony. And in order to do this, in my skill training sessions, I give people a while to write down what they know about themselves, their thoughts, their feelings. And I know my thoughts, I know my feelings. I can name my thoughts, I can name my feelings. I can speak out my thoughts and speak out my feelings. I manage my thoughts and manage my feelings. In the book on EQ and also in management, skill training called Primal Leadership, the core skills of being a good leader are contained starting with G, genuine. If we don't know our thoughts and know our own feelings, and we can't manage our own thoughts and manage our own feelings, we're sure not going to be able to know and manage other people. And when you're talking about couples or families, if I'm unaware of my own inner life, my own anger, my pain, my feelings of rejection or hurt from my partner, then that comes out, that just gets spewed out and miscommunicated here. It doesn't really add to any kind of growth in the relationship. So I need to know myself and manage myself. And when I am able to do that, then I use I statements. I identify who I am, what I want, what I like, what I don't like. And I had you do a little bit of that a while ago. So you write down, you discover, you know, your gender and what you like and don't like about your gender, your talents, gifts, culture, values, education. And then you can learn to speak the truth in love, as it says in the scripture. Speaking the truth in love, we build everybody up. If I don't know me, if I don't manage me, I can't really build other people up. I'm out of control. I'm operating in the unconscious most of the time. So one of the things that I found is that many people think there's something wrong with saying this is what I like or don't like. Now, I was reared in a family that I call it my Asian red-headed Irish mother, who thought it was a sin to ever identify something you liked. It wasn't humble. So she expected people, and I came from this culture where people expected you to read their mind and to know exactly what they wanted and to do it. Well, let me tell you, I was born in the wrong culture. It just didn't happen for me. Because if people asked me what I thought, I told them that wasn't what they wanted to hear. You know, it's like saying, how are you this morning? And somebody tells you, you say, what's wrong with that person? But my mother was the kind of person, she believed that you ought to read her mind and get her hints. But the hints were so obscure, nobody could read them. So I tell you this quick story. My wife and I were going back home to Illinois, and so we knew that there was always a little bit of tension when we went back there and trying to figure out what Mom wanted. So my wife and I thought, we're going to be really smart this time. But you know you're in trouble when you think you're smart enough to know your parents. So I said, what are we going to do with Mom? We'll invite her out to dinner on Mother's Day, and where should we take her? And Karen says, oh, it's always a big problem. So I'll tell you what we'll do. They opened up a new Ponderosa. Remember years ago when they first came up with Ponderosas? And you could eat anything. It had 80 things on it. Surely Mother will find something she likes and not complain later. Okay. So we said we'll go to the Ponderosa. So we drove up to Mount Vernon, Illinois, 15 miles away, something like that from my home in Ina, Illinois. We get up there, go in, we eat. And afterwards, she said, well, Mother, what did you think of the meal we took you out to? You know, you're all anxious, wanting to hear her say, oh, Gary Ray, that was so wonderful that you took me. Well, there wasn't a thing there that I could eat. It was on my diet. So, well, why did you, I asked you if you wanted to go. Well, I knew you and Karen wanted to go here. So I went because you wanted to go. Have you ever heard that in your families? I'm just going because you want to go. Now, a lot of times we talk about conflict management. Many has been the time we need to have agreement management. We think we agree and don't agree. We think we've read their mind and we haven't read their mind. And then we end up being kind of punished or disappointed or whatever. Well, it finally came out. My mother finally told my wife a day or two later. She had cooked solid for 2 or 3 weeks in preparation for our coming home and didn't want to go out any place. She wanted to serve us. I failed, didn't read her mind. Now, this is a problem. If you've got a church or you're working with people that have got this idea that they're not really going to tell you what they want or like, or if you're married to someone that won't really tell you what they want or like, and you're guessing, you're trying to read their mind, 90% of the time you're going to be wrong. And then you think, oh, failed again. So what I try to do is teach couples, teach people how to say, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. Be honest. And you can always compromise about it if you want, but at least you're getting it out on the table. Frankly, there are a lot of people I know who don't know what they want because they've never been allowed to say what they want and what they like. So try to get people to speak the truth in love by at least wanting to know what it is that they like and dislike.